Hello everyone. Today we will cover two topics. The first is the Defense Pact, which is recently signed between the Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and the Turkey. And the second topic is the UPI charges, which the government will levy, is considering to levy in the following years. So, starting with the first topic, which is the Defense Pact. So, the Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and the Turkey has signed the Makkah Joint Defense Agreement, which is committed to the defense and the collective deterrence. So, what is the core provision? If you see that the theme of this new defense pact is aligning with the NATO, which the NATO's Article 5 states that the armed conflict on the one state is considered as the armed conflict of all the nations which are binded under the NATO. So the core provision here also states that an army attack on one member would be treated as the attack on the all three. This represents an attempt to strengthen the collective security cooperation between the three strategically important Muslim majority countries. So as we see, all the three countries are the allies of the US and are strengthening and diversifying their cooperation between the Middle East region. Why is the pact significant? So, number one cause is the emergence of the new regional security arrangement. So, the countries have their all three countries have their own significance and the strategic importance. The Turkey is a NATO member and has a significant military and the industrial capabilities. And the Saudi Arabia, as mentioned here, is a major Gulf power, emerging hub, and the financial strength. The Pakistan has a strategic locations as it is aligned with as it surrounds the boundary with the Iran, which is the hot topic in the geopolitics, and shares the border with the India as well as the China. And the Turkey, the NATO member, and the significant military industrial capabilities. Their cooperation could create the stronger security network outside the traditional Western-led arrangements. As today's geopolitical scenario is changing, so every country is hoping to diversify their cooperation with other countries to make the better use if any conflicts occur in the single country. So the second cause is the collective deterrence. The agreement follows the principle of the attack on one, the collective responsibility, as we all know that it is the NATO's Article number 5. It aligns with the same. The objective is to make the potential adversaries think twice before attacking any member. The concept collective defense can strengthen the deterrence by increasing the potential cost of the aggression. So they have the common, as we have seen since the February 2026, since the Iran-US war has been started, the countries which are present in the Middle East are not a military or defense type of having the military or the defense type of the infrastructure. They prioritize on the energy sector, diaspora, infrastructure, and they are financially very strong. So now they are considering to sign a defense pact for their future if any conflicts occur. So why Turkey and Pakistan? Turkey seeks the greater strategic influence in the West Asia, larger role in the regional security, stronger defense partnership, whereas the Pakistan sees the strategic relevance in the West Asia defense and the economic partnership with the Gulf countries, a role as the regional security partner and the mediator. The Trump has also sought the Pakistan for the mediation of the US and Iran war, though it was not successful, but it served as a mediator. So, what is the significance for the India? First of all, India should monitor the Pakistan's and the Turkey's expanding role in the West Asia security, and should also maintain a diplomatic and the strategic engagement. As we see in the Saudi Arabia, India has a huge amount of the diaspora, so India should look into the interest of the Indian diaspora over there, energy securities, trade and investment, and the most important is the maritime security. If the maritime security is strong, the ship passing through the Strait of Hormuz and the Red Sea, they should be having the proper security for the coming back of the ships. The Red Sea and the maritime security. Instability around the Red Sea, Gulf of Aden, Arabian Sea directly affects the India's trade route, as we have recently seen in the past 3 to 4 months that the fuel prices have increased tremendously. It is due to the trade routes have been disrupted. The imports of the energy and the maritime security have been very much disturbed in all of the world, specifically the India, which is an import dependent country from the Middle East. So it is important that it should also diversify its sources from where it takes the energy, like oil, petroleum, etc. So it's only a concept. You should also keep in mind that what is the difference between the collective defense and the collective security. Defense is to defend. If any country attacks if any country attacks on the defender country, so it is the role of the other countries to stand in the support, whereas the collective security stands for the prevent and response. It can also be an attacker over the collective security. So what is the India's approach? India should follow the multi-alignment strategy, maintain the strong relation with the India, Saudi, and India and the Turkey. Turkey is an important player. So since the Pahalgam attack, India has not aligned with them because of their support to the Pakistan, as we can say. So India should engage with the Turkey and strengthen the maritime presence in the Arabian Sea and the West Asia. It should also protect the energy and the diaspora interest. So that's for the first topic. Now we will move to the second topic, that is the UPI charges. So what is the core issue in that? The core issue states that the government is considering to apply the charges on this UPI transactions, which is raising the concerns about the affordability, digital payments, and the sustainability of the payment ecosystem. Because the government sources indicates that they will be applying the charges as it was before the 2020 on the UPI as well as the RuPay debit card. So what are the changes now we will see? The taxation and the other laws bill, which is being passed in 2026, amended the Payment and the Settlement System Act. Earlier, the UPI and the RuPay debit card transactions were expressly exempted from any charges. In the 2014 also, the Prime Minister has announced the Jan Dhan scheme, in which the accounts were being opened, and in the 2016 the UPI has transformed the economy has transformed the DPI into another levels, which is being applauded by the worldwide. The amendments now enable the government to notify the categories of the transactions on which the charges will be levied, but it is not the final statement. The final decision of the UPI is yet to be announced. What is the likely scope over it? It is said that the large merchants with a turnover of 1 to 1.5 crores will be targeted first, and the transactions above the 2000 rupees will be targeted. So, considering these things in the mind, they only contribute to the 5% of the UPI transactions. However, the amended laws allow the government to expand the scope later. Why are the charges being considered? As the RBI governor has argued that someone has to pay in the recently the press conference, he had said that someone has to pay for maintaining the UPI. So the sustainability of the UPI ecosystem is very important. UPI has been made free in the 2020. The bank's payment processor have been providing the significant cost for the transaction processes, infrastructure, cyber security, technology, upgradation, and the innovation. Recently, the government of India has invested over 2000 crore, I think, in maintaining the UPI, which is free for the public. So that's why the RBI governor is worried about that it should be charged on the selective commodities. So what is the need of the investment? The charges could provide the payment companies with the additional resources so the charges will help the company to diversify their additional sources, which was recently been used for the transaction processes, cyber security. Now they can use in the infrastructure innovation and the security, which can prove beneficial for the people also. The existing government support, what it states that the government has introduced the 2021 the incentives and the subsidy scheme, which to partially compensate the banks and the payment processors for the UPI transactions up to the 2000 by the small merchants. The government has already paid 11,349 crore rupees. Another 2,000 crore is budgeted okay for the 2026-27. What are the concerns? As the UPI has provided the opportunity that even the street vendors are also using the UPI transactions for even the small payments. So if this concern happens, there will be a chances that they will return to the cash. It will impact in the reversal of the India's digital payment gains and the merchant charge, as the big players will not only they are the businessmen, so they will reduce the attractiveness to the digital payment as the transactions will be levied from the common people. So it will lead to the regressive burden. The small consumer may ultimately bear the merchant charges. The public trust will also be held as the perception of the UPI has become less accessible. So these are some of the concerns. So what can the alternatives be suggested to the government? That RBI could finance the UPI development. Like the RBI has the substantive resources, the RBI transfers the surcharge money to the consolidated fund of India at the end of the year. This could lead to it could slightly reduce and transfer the funds for the betterment of the infrastructure and the innovation, and help to reduce the charges. But the dilemma also remains that who should bear the cost of the public digital infrastructure: users, payment intermediaries, taxpayers, or the central bank. So what is the way forward for it? That targeted rather than the universal charges, because it is the number one priority of the government to protect the small merchants and the low value transactions. Maintain a zero or the near zero cost for the essential retail payments, and encourage the competition for the payment providers to reduce the payment cost. Periodically evaluate whether the charges are causing the shift back to the cash, and it should also ensure that any merchant charge are transparent and not arbitrarily passed to the consumers. So it was all about the UPI charges, the topic number 2. Thank you.